India's auto components industry stays resilient despite US and Mexico tariffs. India's $80 billion auto components industry is facing new challenges as the United States and Mexico impose higher tariffs on several categories of imported vehicle parts. Yet, industry leaders remain optimistic, pointing to India's cost advantage, global supply chain realignments, and future opportunities in Europe. The immediate impact of tariffs. In late August 2025, the Trump administration announced a 50% tariff on commercial and off-road vehicle components, impacting around $3 billion worth of Indian exports to the U.S. This decision, part of a wider protectionist trade strategy, immediately slowed negotiations and decision-making between Indian exporters and American buyers. However, industry analysts note that US and Mexico together account for less than 10% of India's auto parts exports, with shipments valued at approximately $6.6 billion to the US and $500 million to Mexico. Moreover, over half of these exports were already subject to duties that also apply to other countries. While the industry remains positive, despite short-term disruptions, India's auto parts manufacturers see a long-term growth opportunity. Several factors contribute to this optimism. Cost competitiveness. India remains one of the most cost-efficient manufacturing destinations, with lower labor and production costs compared to other exporting nations. Global supply chain shift. Post-pandemic supply chain restructuring has prompted global automakers to diversify sourcing away from a single country. India is emerging as a reliable alternative supplier. High-value segments. Demand for Indian-made ICE powertrain components, engines, transmissions, and wiring harnesses is expected to rise, as these products are labor-intensive and India has a proven expertise in manufacturing them at scale. Untapped potential in Europe. Another key growth driver lies in Europe. India's market share in the European Union remains relatively small, but a potential free trade agreement (FTA) between India and the EU could change the game. Lower tariffs and better market access would make Indian auto components even more competitive in Europe, opening doors for exponential export growth. Looking beyond the tariffs, industry leaders argue that while the current tariffs are disruptive, they may push Indian manufacturers to diversify their customer base and reduce overdependence on any single market. In the medium to long term, this could make the industry more resilient and better positioned globally. The focus now is on strengthening ties with automakers in Japan, South Korea, and Europe. Investing in EV components and new technologies. Building more localized production facilities abroad to bypass tariff barriers.